And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Suits, which is entitled The Greater Good, episode 13, season 7. I am just rattling off all the information today. Shana is in the corner. You can't really see, but she's like, no, like too many words. There were too many words in tonight's episode. There was a lot of stuff in tonight's episode. There were erectile dysfunction pills in tonight's episode. There was other drugs referenced. I don't know if that was supposed to be some sort of unifying theme. There was a blow up between Katrina and Brian again, just to sort of supplement the blow up from last week. Apparently Katrina and Brian are also not over, sort of, and still have, you know, like their two-way feelings now. That's a whole thing, fun and fresh. Sheila's about to go into labor or something. Donna has a boyfriend. Harvey does not have a boyfriend. And that's what you missed on Glee. Shana, off with tonight's rating.
When you put it like that.
I mean,
I was actually going to bump it back up to average because I was pretty pleased with what they did with Sam, like actually giving us a real story. But then, I mean, otherwise, like, was average because it was basically you could put this episode in any other season of Suits.
It really did seem to not tie into anybody's storyline. It was like Donna was struggling with, you know, the struggle of having to make big decisions that are not always black and white at work. So there's that. And then you had, you know, the Harvey thing goes up against arbitrary man in defense of arbitrary man to take down arbitrary man. Like, there was just a lot of like formulaic Suits tonight. Just jumping in the chat, Samantha Voss says there was a lot tonight. There was a lot. Like, there was a lot, to be fair. The plot was all over the place. My Little Rabbit says, hello, I'm here. Hello, My Little Rabbit. Stormy Woods says she will give this episode a 3 out of 5. Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce my scale. Rate the scale. Rate the scale. I can't speak. I told Shana before we started I'm about to drop dead. This is your first indication. I'm on death's doorstep. Rate the episode on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being terrible, 5 being fantastic. Stormy, as always, is ahead of the curve, has rated it already as a 3. Nicole Fernandez says, am I naive or the vitamins only mean regular vitamins that people take daily? Ah, interesting. See, I don't know if they wanted to literally have it mean erectile dysfunction pills or if it was supposed to like be seen as like a sexy inside joke, but I just heard not that there's anything wrong with erectile dysfunction pills. Like, do what you gotta do. I don't care. I just thought it was funny. I mean, maybe it's because her boyfriend's old and that was supposed to be inside joke. I don't know. My Little Rabbit says it's Steph. Victoria says hi. Phantomet/Steph is who she's clarifying that she is. And Steph says the episode was a 4 for her. Victoria gives it a 2. So we're getting about an average of 3 with a standard deviation of 1 in the chat thus far. I think I would give it like a 3, 3.5 type of thing. And Shana, it sounds like you would give it a 4, right?
No, I said average, babe.
What's average to you?
Let's not be too generous. Like a 3 is right in the middle, right?
Okay.
Like I'm neutral because there was some really good stuff, and then as you're pointing out, there was some really not. But unlike in the other weeks, like there was at least development. It was development for a new character because we're incapable of developing our old characters. But it was still development for someone. Like we finally put to rest all the like 50 stories about Sam. Like we know now she was a foster kid and she got in a lot of trouble. And then she got bounced from the one place that she thought was home. Like this is finally like canon, not Sam writing fan fiction about herself. Great.
Yeah, I think Samantha's story was the best part of this episode by far. I'm always a sucker for a good foster care type story. I thought that was great. I thought it was nice that there was a complex relationship with her foster mom. It wasn't just as straightforward as she had a good parent or she had a bad parent. It was a mixed bag type of thing. We get to see an issue that Sam cares about because she cares about it, not just because Zane cares about it. So that was kind of nice. And again, it's this respect in the writing and this nuance in the writing that she's been getting that has been very impressive. But I guess I'm just sort of wondering where was this energy all along for all the other characters? Why do they not get this? It's not like, oh, take it away from this woman, give it to this woman because there's a limited amount to give. It's not like that. I love what they're doing for Sam. I think it's been a great addition to the show. I don't want it for others as well.
Yeah.
In the chat, Samantha gives it a 4. Steph says she laughed a lot, so she will give it a 4 as well. Also because she understood the plot, which is good, and she likes Samantha's story. Stormy says it's weird for a couple to mention regular vitamins. It did seem tongue-in-cheek, alluding to Viagra. Yeah. I feel like they meant for us to interpret it the way. I don't know. Steph says development. Harvey called Donna out for drinks as a pal. What did you think of that? Do you see that as Darby development, Miss Shana?
No, because here's why. First of all, I'm not going to get suckered again. Like we were talking earlier today about Mitchell. Does everybody remember that?
The cat, yes.
And I had written in a recap that there was only one reason to spend time on Donna talking about breaking up with a guy we'd never met. But oops, that one reason never happened. So first of all, I'm just not getting suckered. Second of all, like, you know, he called Mike. So unless you know, it really is true that he had romantic feelings for Mike all along, we can't equate. Like the phone calls seem to be like him wanting to reach out to anyone, and neither of his two people were there for him, which sucks.
Right.
He's my poor child. I'm protecting him this season, whereas last season I wanted to hang him. Great development. And the other thing is like Donna, I'm sorry, like I have traditionally loved the character. I love what Sarah Rafferty does with her, but Donna right now is trash to the point where I don't want her to be with. I don't want her and Harvey should not be working their shit out while she's behaving like this.
Ooh, what's wrong with Donna? Like, what has she done wrong? I'm missing something here.
Her whole thing with Katrina about how, fighting with someone who can't have a real conversation. That was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, sweetheart. Like, that's not the Harvey we have now. The Harvey we have now ended a relationship so you could keep your job because you inserted yourself in it and then lied to him and said that you felt nothing. The person who can't have a conversation right now is the one that's a lying liar. And she's even lying to herself because then she talks about she's falling for this Thomas guy who is at that point she'd been on one date with, maybe 2. And
I'm going to speak up in defense of Donna. So a couple things. One,
client. Like, you can't tell
Harvey is a lying liar who lies. Donna is a lying liar who lies. Everyone on this show is a lying liar who lies. So that's fair. I think that when Donna is talking about Harvey's ability to communicate, she's not just talking about the Harvey in the past couple months that we know, who may be mildly better at communicating, not always, hasn't always communicated that well with Donna, maybe is a little bit better at speaking peer-to-peer with her now, but he was often inconsistent, dismissive, or not truthful about feelings. So was she. So that's fair. When it came to ending his relationship with Paula, that ended because he wasn't in love with Paula and because Paula was like a next level lying liar who lies, like a few levels up above them and also unethical and was manipulating him and, broke patient client, just a whole bunch of reasons to end it with Paula. So we're all super on board with that. But with Donna, you can't really expect her to just turn around and put herself back out there again with Harvey the way she almost kind of sort of did for a second. Because Donna is far more in denial than Harvey is for good reason. As a form of protection, she's, technically the more vulnerable party in this situation because of their employment. And she also, when she's saying the solution is to fall for someone else, she's not saying I'm going to fall for someone else or I am falling for someone else. She's saying it would be much easier if she fell for someone else. That's the literal solution. The solution to her having feelings for Harvey and being in a position where it'd be very difficult to try and communicate about that again is to fall for someone else, which she may or may not do, depending on how well those erectile dysfunction pills work.
But she didn't just say someone else. She said someone who has nothing to do with this place. And she was talking from a position of being like the knowing Donna, except like he has plenty to do with that place. He's a longtime client of Lewis's. Like she's not even making sense within her own anything that we know about her so far. Like
when she says doesn't have anything to do with this place, I don't think she means like has not entered the door, Pierce Inspector lit. She means is not her boss, Harvey.
But Harvey's not her boss anymore. He hasn't been for what, like a year, 2 years?
And he's managing partner.
He's not managing partner. Lewis is.
Or
he's a name partner.
Yeah, he's name partner.
Like she's as close to equal as she can be
without a law degree. You got to think about it in the whole timeline of them working together. No matter how much something may have changed in the last, what's essentially in Showtime, a couple months max of all this, where they, you know, she's COO and he's name partner or whatever, so they're almost kind of closer to the same level or whatever. It's still, there's this long stretch of time, it's supposedly, 13 years or something like that, 14, I guess, at this point, that they've worked together where he hasn't been great at communicating and he was her boss. So even if in the last, 5 or 6 months, he's been better at communicating and is sort of no longer her boss, that's still gonna be tough to overcome, especially because when she put herself out there, they kind of fought about it.
Well, and so, but the other thing is her answer to him not really wanting to talk back then was not exactly the cool, calm, mature, like she was like, all right, I'm going to go work for Lewis. And it was great to see because I think where she was at that point, like we needed to see, that tension. But like, if she really thinks that fighting is not a way to have a conversation, then like certainly fighting, then saying nothing, then, being the catalyst for maybe ending something earlier that we all know would have ended anyway. But still, like, she knows how he feels about infidelity and she took her chance, which she needed to take, but then she backed off of it. Like, she's not a good communicator either. So, like, I just feel like at this
both point, of them suck at communicating with each other
at all.
Yeah. At all. Both of them suck at communicating to each other. And I'm not, like, with her kissing him, it was sort of her taking her chance and also sort of her putting her feelings out there in a way where she could kind of walk them back really quickly if it didn't get received well. Mm-hmm. And she did walk them back because it did not get received well. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people agreeing with you in the chat, by the way. Victoria agrees with the whole Donna is currently being written like trash right now. Steph agrees with Shana as well. Everybody, including Stormy, agrees that Harvey is lonely. That was your point. Stormy says that she sort of agrees with well, she says I agree with Cammie. I don't know what exactly she's agreeing with now, but Shana and I are on the same page. We're just saying two different perspectives to the same end, where we just want Harvey and Donna together. We're just saying it different ways.
And I also feel like, and you and I have talked about this before, they're selling this as like Donna being empowered, but
oh God,
she's blowing off her job, right? Like she went in late. She never goes in late. And she tells Katrina without knowing what the issue is, well, whatever it is, I'm leaving, on a day when she already came in late. And like, yeah, she wound up staying. But it was more to give like relationship advice from someone who shouldn't be giving it than because she cared about the job. It was more at that point like as a friend. And it's like, you love this job and you were in such tears over the thought that you might have to do something else. And like, Now, and it's not even, it's just like a 180. You know, if she had like eased into, like, if this had been a relationship that was written in less than what we're probably all going to assume is 6 episodes or less, if it wasn't so like all of a sudden on fire, even though the chemistry's not there to support it, fine. But even then, like, it still doesn't fit the image or the character that we know. And it's really frustrating, especially when they're trying to sell it as empowerment, because to me, empowering her would be, first of all, not making her pine for somebody for 13 years. Second of all, like, actually having that work-life balance that everybody talks about, oh, women can't have it all, even though really, spoiler alert, you can. Like, actually having a balance would be real empowerment, not just, I'm going to blow off work for this dude. You know,
Yeah,
like, it's
I
bad.
think that, well, Samantha in the chat has a good point. She says Harvey is the fighter. If anything's going to happen between Harvey and Donna, then Harvey has to initiate it. I think that kind of is what it comes down to, where previously it's always been in this position where I feel like the unstated premise was Harvey was aware of his feelings for Donna, but had shut them down because she said she won't date somebody she works with.
Mm-hmm.
But he would kind of let his feelings come out once in a while. The whole, you know, I love you, Donna thing, punching people over her, all that sort of stuff. He would occasionally let that sort of break loose, where she remained in a more consistent, stable state of denial. So Harvey was always up and down as to how much he could kind of crush his feelings. There were moments where he was super like on top of kind of not showing his feelings for Donna, and then there were moments where he'd be like super, super obvious. Donna was in this consistent level of denial. And I think what we were supposed to see was her starting to break out of that level of denial, and she can't live with herself pretending that that doesn't exist. She has to kind of give it a chance to exist. And then as soon as she does, she realizes how scary that is and walks it back. I think that they've handled the pacing of the slow burn terribly. No offense, anybody who makes the show. But the pacing of this entire thing was a mess. Good God. Like, write me a better essay and turn it back in for a higher grade. Like, no. But the contents of said essay are all good. There's just way too much filler. That's what it really comes down to. In this whole timeline of how their slow burn is going, they've spent way too much time on introduction and not nearly enough time on the points moving it from point A to point B to point C. We're still, in terms of a slow burn, around a solid point A. And then we're going to rush through B and C, which won't even really be a true slow burn. So it's just kind of, I don't know. Yeah. That's my frustration.
I just, you know, and the other thing is the other thing that would have been true supposed empowerment for Donna is if her relationship had actually been given at least close to the same amount of time as Harvey's was. Like, if it's going to be, we have to be in other relationships to figure out that, hey, just kidding, we should be with each other. First of all, they've already done that. Second of all, you know, Harvey had the entirety of 7A plus 3 episodes, right? Donna will have had 6 probably, because this cannot possibly last for long, because it just can't. Like, and if it does, like, that's another.
I imagine it will rise quickly and burn out quickly, and that's kind of how it's supposed to go, because it's supposed to, I'm sure, contrast her and Harvey, which is this like crazy slow relationship, and then with this guy, what's it, Thomas, it'll be like a crazy fast relationship, and it'll just rise and burn off really, really fast. In the chat, Steph's agreeing with you that everything being done with Donna's storyline right now is not empowerment at all. I also strongly agree with that. I think that the entire premise of it being feminist to sleep with a guy, like that's the feminist empowerment thing to do.
Yeah.
This is really off base and lame. Like, that's not a feminist action one way or the other. Steph also says that Donna lied to Harvey because, you know, Donna and Harvey have no feelings for each other. Haha, sarcasm. Stormy says Harvey is incredibly insecure in his personal life. Yes, he is. When it comes to his work life, he can be very confident. When it comes to the one person he has been pining after for 13 years, he is less confident.
The work thing is compensation.
The what now?
The work thing is compensation. Like his life is empty.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing. Like the more ridiculous and circular, like the same play over and over and over again gets with him. Like how many times did he think he could go to the guy at the SEC and say, "Hey, I did an illegal thing. Help me." Like
yeah. Well, to sum it up, Stormy says she predicts we'll get Darby as the last episode of the series because she does not trust these writers. Victoria says it's just for the men to get laid, and they say it's empowerment, referring to the constant portrayal of random hookups as empowerment. Well, Steph says, yes, his life is empty. That's what they showed him at the end of the episode. Him alone calling people. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to end it for this episode. Because I know when Shana and I first started talking on here today, I was like, was it just kind of depressing or was it boring? Like, what was the vibe? I think it was just kind of a depressing episode, was kind of the vibe here. And I think we'll pick up going into the finale. You know, they're always quite strong on episode 15. They lead up to the finale really well and usually don't, you know, follow through on that. 14 leads up to a good, you know, like they all kind of, those last 3 episodes are always pretty good for most of the, give or take, for most of the seasons. But this 13th one really kind of, it wasn't like a low in terms of rating. It was just kind of a depressing episode. Anyways, Shana.
Yes, ma'am.
Any final thoughts on tonight's episode?
Yes. Everyone except Samantha and Robert are on Craig from Degrassi's drugs from Degrassi.
Fair. Valid. I can't help but see him as Craig from Degrassi now that you guys have talked about it and you sent me that video. Just changes my perspective.
Craig from Degrassi.
Yeah, Brian was particularly annoying tonight. He used to be so sweet, and then for a hot minute there, he was just really frustrating tonight. A few people in the chat agreeing that it was a depressing episode. Yeah, it just was, and that's okay. Sometimes, you know, you have those days. I'm about to drop dead, so it's a good fit for a depressing episode. And on that note, we are a minute over time, so I'm going to let you guys go and let Shana go. But if you have any further questions or thoughts or theories or anything about Suits, you can find Miss Shana to talk to her in the description down below, and my information is down there as well. Shana, thank you for joining me on a particularly sleepy episode for me. I will see you same time, same place next week for episode 14, which, if my prediction powers are any good, I predict will be much better than this week, but don't hold me to it. Good night.